Are you curious about the package inclusions of expats living here in Korea? If you want to know more, stay and watch the full video. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button for video update.
Hello, this is Wendy.
This video is about what the expats here in Korea receive as part of their package when they were brought over to Korea. By expats, I mean in business parlance, those who are connected with multinational companies, international organizations, even governmental organizations like the military. And by further definition, the expats that I'm referring to in this video are those who are usually hired from outside of Korea and brought over here. I think there is a slight or even some major difference in terms of package from those who are locally hired expats, meaning those who were hired here inside Korea. With that being clear, let's move to the first package, the salary. The salary, because you are an expat, that entails moving on to a different country. The company has already budgeted for such expenditure for a relatively higher salary compared with your local counterpart. So the CEO, for example, would be expected to receive way more than the executives would receive way more than their local counterpart, because that would be giving, adjustments to the new country, to the new place, to the new business culture. The higher salary base is normal in the expat in this kind of setup because of so many factors. Second, housing. The company that brings you in to another place, in this case, Korea, know that you are in a different country that's not where you came from, obviously, or you are being moved from another country to another country, so they need to provide the housing. It is usually part of the expat package. Now, there is a difference in the kind of housing that you get will be different if you are for example, a company's CEO. Here in Korea, a house, like a real house with a garden, a gated house is different. It's extremely expensive compared with even the high-end condominiums apartments here in Seoul. So this kind of accommodation is usually reserved for the heads of the company, the executives of the company. If you are an executive, high executive of a multinational company, you can also be accommodated in a high-end apartment. Basically, it depends on the budget of the company. High-end apartments would be around $5,000, $6,000 a month. And then lower than that, you can be in a regular apartment in the residential area with apartment complexes. Where we live is mostly Koreans, mostly local residents. But since we live near the international school of our sons, there are expats living in this area as well. But these are like usual Korean apartments. The interior of your house would be dependent on the budget that is being given to you by the company. The next one is the international school education of your children. This is a big part of the package of the expat because the company knows that expats relocate to another place. And if the expat has school-age children, one of their major concerns is the education of their children. And education would be in an international school because going into a local school would be giving a lot of hindrance to the expat children because of the language and the curriculum. So it should be normal, it should be part of your package as an expat to have the education of your children in an international school. That's also part of the obligation of the company to make relocation easier for the expat family. Another major part of the package of the expat is the logistical support of the company, because the expat moves in and after the expiration of the contract moves out of the country. So relocating logistical services is part of the package, because let's admit it, it's not inexpensive. It is expensive to relocate from one country to another. So it is definitely part of the expat package. Now, let's go to the optional ones. This now will depend on your, number one, the size of your company that you are connected with. Second, your position in the company. Third, your negotiation ability, negotiation skills with the company. So one of the optional inclusion in the package of an expat is a car. But I think this is a no-brainer for the heads of the companies. They definitely will be provided with a car. Other executives may not necessarily be given a car. There are others who are given parking allowance and gasoline allowance, but no car. You have to provide for your own car. Again, this depends on your negotiating skills with the company, or it depends on what the company has in place as a package for the expat. Next, membership in business organizations. Especially if you are American or British, German, or they have all kinds of chambers of commerce. AmCham, American Chamber of Commerce. You have the BCCK. You have all those kind of business organizations. Usually the company pays for your membership there. The Philippines, we don't even have our own Philippine Chamber of Commerce here in Korea. Well, probably because of lack of Philippine businesses here and Philippine expats in the business community. So basically, those are the optional inclusions in the package of the expats. So those are the inclusions of the package of an expat living here in Korea. Actually, this is true of all the expat packages assigned in different parts of the world. Just depends on the size of the company, your position in the company. So those are some of the things that may vary in terms of the inclusion of the packages. It is interesting also to note that the expat brings with him his family, right? The children has their school being provided for. What about the wife or the spouse? That's why we have what we call the traveling spouse. These are the partners of the expats, and they go with the expat. They travel with the expat wherever they are assigned, and the company is not obligated to give employment to the spouse. The company does not give employment to the spouse, and the company does not compensate for the loss of employment of the spouse. That's why the expat's package or salary is normally higher because of these considerations in the family setup. It's unwritten, unspoken consideration in terms of the package of an expat. So what do traveling spouses do? What does an expat wife do when he or she go to another country? That will be in another episode of Living in Korea with Wendy Flor. I hope you got something out of this video. And if you want to know more about living here in Korea, there's my playlist below. Check it out. Check out my other videos. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you will be updated for future uploads. Till the next time!